Hi, it's Alicia Kamler, and this is our last entree round. But I've got something really special in store for you. It's called crimini caramelized onion soup, and I can't wait to show it to you, so let's get started. I'm going to be cooking our onions and our mushrooms separately because the end result is I want caramelized onions and nice and brown mushrooms, and if I put them together there's just too much moisture and I'm not going to get that. So let's start with the onions first because they take about 15 to 20 minutes to get nice and caramelized. I've got a pan on medium-high heat, and we're going to add to that 1/4 of a cup of butter. And I've got 2 whole Vidalia onions that are chopped. I'm going to just go ahead and add those in the pan. I've got 1 tablespoon of sugar. And I'm going to put in a teaspoon of salt. Crushed black pepper. You can put as little or as much as you like. I love pepper. I like things a little spicy, so I'm going to put quite a bit in there for me. And just going to give that a quick stir and let them do their magic. I'm also going to add a few sprigs of fresh thyme. Just going to put those right on top, and then we'll pluck out the twigs when it gets all done. And next we're going to get started on our mushrooms. Again, a medium pan on, medium heat in a big saute pan because I want them to get brown, so I want them to have lots of room. About a tablespoon of olive oil. And right into the pan.
Go.
Okay, so as you can see, our mushrooms, our criminis, are nice and brown. And I started with about 16 ounces of those. And criminis are baby portobellos. They are so cute, and they have such a rich, wonderful flavor. Now, my grocery sells these already cleaned and sliced, so that's a real time saver, and I love those. Our onions are nice and golden, and you see all that butter in there and how soft they are. And our thyme, I'm going to pluck out our thyme stems. Now I chose Vidalia onions because 1, they're my favorite onion, and 2, they have such a sweet, mild flavor, and it really complements the Philadelphia cream cheese that we're going to be putting in this soup. There's another one. And I should have 1 more. Okay, all the stems are out. So we're going to turn off our mushrooms and our onions, and we are going to get started with our soup base. So we're going to get a medium soup pot, and we're going to turn it on medium heat. We're going to add 1/4 a cup of real butter, and when this gets all melted, we're going to add 1/4 a cup of flour, equal portions, because we're going to make a roux. Now, I have been born, raised, and lived in Appalachia my whole life. And it wasn't until I was older and started watching cooking shows that I even knew this was called a roux. Where I live, gravy is like one of the 4 food groups. And so you always start with a roux, but my grandma always just called it gravy paste. So I had no idea that it had a nice word called roux. Okay, we're going to put in our flour and just stir that. And it'll cook for a minute or 2. We just don't want it to taste like pure flour. And to our roux, I'm going to add another teaspoon of salt. And more crushed black pepper. And probably about a teaspoon of garlic powder. come together, what I'm going to do is put a cup of milk in and 2 cups of half and half. Oops, made a mess. What's new? I always make messes when I cook. And we're going to incorporate that roux all into our liquid. Keep stirring, stirring, stirring. And then once we have all that wonderful roux incorporated, it's going to become the star of the show. We're going to add in a whole 8 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese, and that is what's going to make this ultra creamy and delicious. And I've cut it up into equal sized little cubes just so it'll help it melt a little quicker. Because the quicker the Philly melts, the quicker we get to eat. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it gets to this stage. It's nice and creamy and very, very thick, okay? But we're going to add broth to it, so don't panic. It's not going to stay that thick. Okay, I'm going to turn it down to medium-low, and we are just going to go ahead and add in our mushrooms. Get every single last little guy in there. And then our wonderful onions. I'm not going to drain those. I want all that butter. We'll just stir it right in. And now, this is the fun part. Some people do like really thick soup, and so I add broth accordingly. Now, I like it somewhere in between. I don't like it really, really thick, but I don't like it runny either. So we just start out slow and add our chicken stock. This is 3 cups right here. And just keep stirring and adding until you get the right consistency that you enjoy. Okay, so this soup needs to simmer for about 10 minutes. I'm going to cover it and put it on low-medium heat. And I don't know about you all, but I'm not really a soup and salad kind of girl. I'm more of a soup and give me some big old crusty bread kind of girl. So in the length of time that simmers, I'm going to throw together a real quick crostini. I call it my craft crostini because I'm using all craft products. I bought some artesian bread at the grocery, and that's all I'm using, so it's pre-made. I'm going to butter one side, just a thin layer there. Put the butter side down on the stone. This is so easy. I think some of my favorite things to eat are the easiest to make. And then on this side, I'm going to put a layer of the Philadelphia cream cheese, chive and onion. I love the pre-flavored spreads. They're so delicious. They do not taste fake or artificial. They just still have a very good flavor, just like you made them yourself. And it's such a time saver. I think I want a little bit more on that one. Alright, then I'm just going to sprinkle some of the real bacon pieces. This is the recipe size pieces, so they're a little bit bigger. And then we're going to put a little Kraft mozzarella cheese on top of that. And we're going to pop this in the oven, 375 degrees, and it takes less than 10 minutes to get all melty and delicious. Okay, so this is the plating of our cream of crimini and caramelized onion soup. And I just topped it with some more cracked pepper and put a little fresh thyme on the top. And then there is our crostini, and just garnished with some fresh thyme on the plate.